LearnWave is a dynamic audio-based education platform that brings learning to life through engaging, chapter-wise podcasts. Designed to make every topic accessible and enjoyable, LearnWave explains each chapter in an interesting, easy-to-understand format that students can access on the go. This innovative platform is a collaborative venture by Eshan Group of Companies and Bihanan Corporation, merging their strengths to redefine modern education through the power of audio.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. So today we're really diving deep into, well, an excerpt actually, from Khushwant Singh's The Portrait of a Lady. And, sometimes a short story can be just as powerful as reading a whole novel.
Right.
And this is one of those, we're going to unpack this relationship between a boy and his grandmother in India.
Yeah.
And I think it's so fascinating to see how their bond kind of navigates these changing landscapes, cultural landscapes, and reveals some pretty universal truths, I think.
Yeah.
About life and family, connection.
It really is. It's a poignant story.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to kind of dig into those layers beneath the surface a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll be looking at, cultural shifts and generational divides and, those things that remain constant even as the world changes around us.
Yeah, and let's dive right into this. I mean, it is called The Portrait of a Lady.
Yeah.
But let's look at this grandmother because Singh paints such a vivid picture of her.
He does.
He describes her face as wrinkled like crumpled paper, constantly in white, with her silver hair. I mean, it just screams tradition.
It does.
But it's so interesting how her routine, which is so steeped in prayer and old ways of life, intersects with this boy's modern education.
Right.
And you see that tension play out, don't you?
You do, yeah. I mean, especially when in the village, their lives are so intertwined.
Totally.
She walks him to school, teaches him scriptures.
Yeah.
A beautiful illustration of their bond.
Yeah.
And it makes you think about those formative figures, right, in our own lives who instilled those early values.
Absolutely. Like so many grandparents are
right.
such a central figure in upbringing.
Yeah.
But then when they move to the city,
Yes.
his world expands in ways that she can't always follow.
Right.
He's immersed in science and Western music and all these things that represent progress and change. And meanwhile, the grandmother finds solace in feeding the sparrows.
Right.
And it's a small detail in the story.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it just struck me as incredibly significant.
It is significant. It's the sparrows become this beautiful symbol, almost like a bridge between the old world and the new.
Yeah.
She's not rejecting these changes, but she's also not swept away by them.
Right.
The sparrows represent a constant, a source of peace in a world that's, becoming increasingly unfamiliar.
Yeah.
What did you make of that, listener? Have you ever noticed how, simple acts of kindness, like feeding birds, can be so grounding, especially during times of change?
I think that's such a great point.
Yeah.
It's like they represent a connection to something bigger than herself, something timeless. And as much as her world shrinks geographically, her spirit seems to expand through these small acts of compassion.
Right.
And it's that inner strength, that quiet acceptance that really defines her character, don't you think?
Yeah, definitely.
And we see it again and again. He goes off to university, then abroad for 5 years.
Right.
Huge milestones.
Right.
And each time, her reaction is so subtle, so understated.
Yeah, yeah.
She doesn't cling. She doesn't make a fuss.
No.
There's no guilt trip.
Right, exactly.
Which, let's be honest, I think we've all kind of experienced from our grandparents at some point.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. But
it would have been so easy, right? I mean, for Singh to portray her as
totally
sad or resentful or, really clinging to the past.
Yeah.
But instead, he gives us this really profound image of resilience.
Yeah.
Her strength comes from this place of deep understanding, I think.
This recognition of life's, natural ebb and flow.
Yeah, and the way her faith sustains her.
Yeah.
It's remarkable. I mean, even as her world seems to shrink geographically, her inner world, her spiritual life, it remains so vibrant.
Yeah.
She finds solace in prayer, in her routine.
Yeah.
It's a powerful reminder, I think,
Is.
That peace often comes from within.
Yes.
Even when everything around us feels chaotic.
Absolutely. And that's such a relevant message, don't you think?
Oh, totally.
For us today, right?
Yeah.
In a world of constant stimulation and,
Right.
endless to-do lists.
Yeah.
Her story kind of invites us to pause.
Yeah.
To find those moments of quiet contemplation.
Totally.
To connect with, something larger than ourselves.
And then of course we get to the passage about her death.
Yes.
And well, I'm not gonna lie, I got a bit choked up reading it.
Yeah.
The image of those sparrows, hundreds of them, gathering in her courtyard, refusing to eat.
It's such a powerful image.
It's heartbreaking, but it's also just so incredibly beautiful.
It is, and it really transcends words, doesn't it?
It does.
It speaks to the profound impact she had on the world around her,
Yeah.
the connections that she forged, even with creatures as small as sparrows.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder about those,
Right.
those unseen bonds that connect us all, right? Human and animal alike.
It really does. It elevates it from being just about this personal relationship
Right.
to something much, much grander, something almost mystical. I don't know.
Right. It's about the ripple effects of a life
Yes.
lived with such quiet dignity and compassion, It's about recognizing that inherent worth and dignity
Right.
of all beings. And it makes you wonder, what will our legacy be?
Right.
What kind of ripples are we creating with our own lives?
It's funny. The excerpt is called The Portrait of a Lady, but it's the sparrows. I just keep coming back to them.
Right.
They feel so integral to the story.
Yeah.
Almost like they represent the soul of the grandmother herself.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And it speaks to the power of observation, doesn't it?
Totally.
That the grandmother didn't achieve greatness in
Right.
a worldly sense.
Right.
But through these simple acts of kindness, her quiet presence,
Yes.
she really touched the lives of those around her, both human and animal.
It makes you wonder what they saw in her.
Oh, I know, right?
Those sparrows,
Yeah.
did they sense her gentle spirit or her unwavering faith?
Yeah.
There's a purity in their grief that's just so powerful,
Right.
so humbling.
It reminds us that there's this whole world out there
Yeah.
beyond our own, immediate concerns, a world filled with mystery and wonder.
Yeah.
And it invites us to, to pay attention, to look for those subtle connections, those moments of grace
Right.
that often go unnoticed.
Yeah. And to consider what legacies we're leaving behind, right?
Yes.
What stories our own lives might tell.
Exactly.
It's a powerful, it's a powerful message of hope, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
Proof that even the smallest acts of kindness
Yeah.
can have this ripple effect extending way beyond what we can even imagine.
Absolutely. Yeah. The story is like a gentle nudge
Yeah.
to embrace simplicity, to find solace in the everyday.
Right.
And to remember that true connection, it transcends words,
Yes.
and even species.
This deep dive has given me a lot to think about, and I hope it's done the same for you, listener.
Yeah, me too.
Until next time, I guess. Remember to look out for those sparrows in your own life.
Yes.
Those reminders of the simple truths that bind us all.
Cute.
With LearnWave, education meets creativity, making each lesson memorable and engaging. As chapters come to life through thoughtful storytelling and easy-to-follow explanations, learning becomes a journey rather than a task. Join us in exploring knowledge in a way that's both inspiring and convenient, wherever you are.